Welcome back to another edition of This Week in Track. On today's show, Jakob Ingebrigtsen gets a world record. Keely Hodgkinson has an impressive debut. And Gianmarco Tamberi makes all of track and field so proud. Let's start first with Jakob Ingebrigtsen getting the first world record of his career. Indoor 1500 in Leuven, runs 3:30.60, running away from the old world record holder, Samuel Tefera, to do it in the process. Just another point on Ingebrigtsen's spectacular resume. Got the gold medal, now the world record. And not really surprising, which is the greatest compliment you can pay to someone like Ingebrigtsen at this level. Also, great week for Norway. Winter Olympics domination. Let's check out the medal count here. 37, 10 up on the next best country, 4 more golds than everyone else. I wonder if in Norway they have the debates like the U.S. has here about what if our best athletes did such and such sport. I wonder if they're like thinking, is Jakob our 5th or 6th best miler if all of our cross-country skiers actually ran track? All right, now it's Grand Holloway time. This is his race in Birmingham. It was actually the slower of his 2 races, ran faster in Leuven, but I picked this one because this is the one where he screws the most with his competition, adds an extra hurdle there at the end, a nice little hop, and he wins it comfortably. I mean, look at the domination in this race. Let's go back a bit. You don't need to be a hurdle expert to know that if your foot is on the ground past one hurdle and everybody else is still up in the air, then you're doing pretty well. Like, freeze this. Let's go. Look at this. He's already down on the ground. This is hurdle 3, and these guys are still mid-hurdle. You're not supposed to be able to do that in a 60 against a world-class field. On Instagram after the race, someone posted, "How on earth didn't you win the gold in Tokyo?" Like, how? Okay, Earth? Your work over the hurdles is perfect. Kind of a rude question, but also kind of a fair question, because I think we forget that Holloway actually lost because he's so dominant. His response, I like the response too. He says, I didn't show up and Hansel Parchment did. Simple. He's right. On that day, he wasn't there. So although Holloway hasn't lost a 60-meter hurdle race since he could drive, basically, 2014, outdoors, his streak only goes back to August. He's actually on a losing streak outdoors, even though indoors, he hasn't lost in 8 years. It's a weird fact. At the same Birmingham meet, Keely Hodgkinson, my goodness, 157.2 in her first 800 of the year. It's a British record. Only 5 women in history have run faster. Number 1, as I mentioned, stunning performance for her right out the gate. She's a silver medalist, but to do this in your first race, crazy. 2, do debuts even matter anymore? It's a question I'm starting to ask after Jakob, after Keely's performance here. And 3rd, can we get a race with a Thing Mo before outdoors? Can we see these 2 at World Indoors? Let's check the start list for USA's this weekend. Do we see a Now it's time for Mondo Record Watch, everybody's favorite segment on this show. Here he is, 6:19 in Birmingham. First attempt, misses it, but he's got 2 more. Knocks it on the way up. This was fun because the whole competition had concluded, but people stuck around because it's Mondo and he's going for the world record. So the entire meet had finished. Keely Hodgkinson was in that last race. Got the British crowd all fired up, and then everyone sticks around for Mondo. So he's the whole show at this point. They're just following him around with the camera, and we're just going to click forward. There's Mondo looking at the tablet, breaking down the film. This is a complete Mondo show. So then you got his competitors back here. And to compete with Mondo now means you are waiting for Mondo, because you probably just want to go get your stuff and get on with your day. These guys are flipping bottles here, trying to pass the time. They're fully dressed as well, too. I don't know how much of a cool down takes place in pole vault, but these guys are fully cooled down because that's how long Mondo is out there. And now we are onto his 2nd attempt. Here he goes. This one, to my eyes, a little better than number 1. And then we get finally to the final attempt. He's still hanging out with his guys. Bottle flipping is done. They've passed the stage of boredom where bottle flipping is no longer fun. Here he goes. And this one was the best of the bunch. Hangs up there for a moment. He thought he had it. Field eventers can go from very mad to very complimentary almost instantly. It's probably fake happy. Another great show. Mondo, worth the price of admission because you're going to stay there a really long time to watch him. Earlier in the meet, Elaine Thompson-Herah makes her debut in the 60. They were talking about potentially world record for this race. She doesn't do that, runs 7:08, but gets the win in Birmingham, and she's going to run more races. So perhaps by the time you watch this, she's already broken the world record. But it did make me think, all the spectacular running that Thompson-Herah did in Tokyo, a lot of it was that second half of the race. And the 60, yes, technically there's a second half because there's a second half of everything, but she really gets into it running from 50 meters on to the finish line. All right, we're going to close it out here with what I think is one of the top 2 moments in high jump history. Gianmarco Tamberi, Olympic champion in the high jump, competing at the Celebrity Game at the NBA All-Star Weekend. And he does this. Off the miss, Tamberi times it perfectly for the dunk. He's fired up, as he should be. Let's look at this again. I've already watched this about 500 times. This just makes me so happy as a basketball fan. Nobody blocking out. Gets up there. Makes sense. He's a high jump champ, but to see him actually do it, this is worth a lot of credit in the track and field world. This is a top 2 moment in high jump history. You got this, and you got probably the Fosbury flop. So Tamberi's got this dunk. He's got the half beard. He's got the gruesome injury in 2016 that led to the comeback and the tie in 2021. He's just going to have an amazing Wikipedia. People aren't going to believe it in a few years.